things that I wish I knew as a teen. So without any further ado, let's get into it. First, not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay. So when growing up, or even adults actually, they get caught up in this bubble where they're just trying to make everyone or get everyone to like them. But this is just unrealistic. As human beings, we have different personalities, and by default, that means that you're going to encounter people who are going to have certain views that are different to yours, and that means that they're not necessarily going to have the same perspective about you. And that's just that. And the second one, comparison is a trap, right? It's okay to compare yourself when you're in a field with someone, especially as a man. That's just how we thrive as giants. It's comparison that actually keeps you alive, healthy, and well. And it's actually competition and comparison that help to keep our species for the longest of time. See, they say that the person you should be comparing yourself to is the person with who you were yesterday. And this just makes sense because if you're 1% better than who you were yesterday, then that means you've made something. But comparison at times can be an issue. So you just have to make sure that you use that wisely as an adventurer. And the third, grades don't necessarily define your intelligence or worth. We've all been kids, and we've all, at some point in our life, had a phase where we had to go to school. And we've also had that person who always performed at the top of the class. But that, my friend, I want to tell you that it doesn't necessarily tell something about your worth. It's great to perform great, but it doesn't in a way put a metric to how the world is going to perceive you. See, the world pays less to no attention, if at all, to how many A's you got in a grade, but they place value on what you bring in the table. So you could be this guy who has A's and all those things, and you could have been the best in your institution or wherever, but if you do not bring anything of value to the table, then to the world out there, you're worthless. And the fourth, ask the dumb questions. This links to the first one. By virtue of you trying to make sure that everyone likes you, it goes to say that when you have something that you're actually unsure about, you're going to just try and act as if you understand, although you don't, in trying to make those people like you. But that's worthless because at the end of the day, it's you against you, as one of the points mentioned. And if you do not acknowledge that, now the fifth one, see, time management is a superpower. Oftentimes you'll find people who are rushing to have their breakfast, rushing to the bus stop, or rushing to their car in order to make sure that they get to work on time. And that's because they have missed the element of time management. See, when you become a master of time management, you in a way sort of have more time in comparison to your lifespan. And I'm saying that not to just make you feel better if you are actually in this field, but that's just the truth of the matter. If you fail to maintain or manage your time, then you're not going to have time to do that thing that you want to do. You're not going to have time to spend with your loved ones, and you're not going to have time also to just be by yourself and also to just internalize how things are in your life. Now, the sixth, quality over quantity. But we all know that guy who has a bunch of friends. But if you question the integrity, if you question the source or the core of those friendships or the interactions that the person has, oftentimes you'll find that they're just fleeting, right? And this is something that I wish I knew, because at times it's a thing of we are striving to have a lot of people around us, forgetting that it's just not about the number but the quality. And now the seventh, love shouldn't be painful. These days we've been brainwashed to believe that if you're in love with someone, then pain is a core element of that. And I'm not arguing the fact that you guys are going to have disagreements, but if that pain that comes from the interaction or the relationship is something that's constant, it's something that in a way has to be there in order for that thing to be functional, then you just know that That's not something that you should settle for. In fact, if that's the case, then you know that you're just in something toxic. And by default, you just have to move on from that. Now, the eight, it's okay to ask for help. I'm personally guilty for this one because at times it feels as if when you go out there asking for help, it's just you degrading yourself. But that is not necessarily the case. In fact, by virtue of you asking for help, it just shows that you had the capacity to acknowledge the fact that you lack in something and by default seek for help. Now, the next, your feelings are valid. Right? This might sound controversial, but there's this idea that sometimes you're just being ungrateful. But way too often, that's not necessarily the case. We tend to miss the fact that we are humans as well. And by virtue of you just saying that me feeling this way is me being ungrateful because there are people who have it worse off, it's just something that sort of unevens the flow. And I'm not saying that you should be an ungrateful brat, of course, but sometimes you just have to be realistic with what's happening in your life. As human beings, we're not going to have equal circumstances or anything equal, to say the least. And that's just life. So forget that idea for some time and just tap into you. And again, I'm not saying you should be an ungrateful brat because that's not being an adventurer. Not the tenth one. Your inner voice matters. Right? There's always this something in us that tells you that whatever course of action that you're doing right now is either good or you should just let that thing go. Just leave it alone. And it's important for you as a man to actually listen to that because the more you nurture your gut feeling, the more precise it is. Just like building muscle in the gym, the more you actually exercise the muscle, the bigger it grows, the stronger it grows. So keep in tap with who you are internally, your inner person, that inner voice, that silent voice that keeps on talking to say that, brother, I know that you're burning to do this thing, but we both know that that's not the way to go. Listen to that. It's going to save you unnecessary pain, unnecessary confusion, and you'll thank me later. Now, the next one. Start learning about money right now. This is a concept that many young gens tend to put aside for later, not realizing the fact that the more you put it aside, the less time you're going to have in future in order for you to perfect that skill. It sucks, of course, as a young gent to focus on your financial health, how you manage your finances. But it's something that's going to be profitable for you in the future because you're not going to be young forever. And to say the least, it's better for you to actually have something in your arsenal that you can use to better your life, for your loved ones, and just anything just around you. Now, the next. Nobody knows what they are doing at first. Right? Way too often we get caught up in the idea that in order for you to start doing something, you have to be great at it. But the raw truth is that not everyone or nobody knew whatever it is that they were doing. But they decided in them that they were going to take that first step. And that's something that determined where they are right now. See, they didn't just wake up being a master, or they didn't just wake up being the best in whatever it is that they do. The Michael Jordans out there, the Bill Gates, the whoever you mention them, they did not know what they were doing at first. But they have to fail, they had to do something, they had to stumble, right? So leave that mindset alone that you have to be the best in order for you to start doing something. Do it. Learn. Fail. Doesn't matter. But just do something about it. And the 13th one. Try a lot of things. Right? A lot of the times you're going to find people who do something. And by virtue of them doing something, they actually close themselves to say that this is just who they are. and they rarely explore their comfort zone. See, as human beings, I believe that we are a species that is forever going to be evolving. See, right now I'm talking to you guys through YouTube. That's something that wasn't there back in the days. You had to travel for miles in order for you to deliver a message across the other side of the world. But right now, things have changed, right? So if you have interest in something, instead of you saying that, actually, I am this person who does this and that's just who I am, just explore those interests for a second. Just figure out how you feel about that. Figure out where those things would actually take you. Because to say the least, you don't know what's on the other side until you're on the other side. So take that leap of faith. It was rarely not worth doing. Now the 14th one. Being cringe means that you are learning. The word cringe is the enemy of today's generation. But it actually is something that, if you happen to acknowledge the fact that you being cringe is actually you being cool, then that's something that's going to be beneficial for the rest of your life. Because we tend to often listen to our peers when they react to us, in the sense that whatever it is that you're doing, wherever you stand, that's just being cringe. But 9 out of 10 times, the people who are saying those things actually have a bunch of things that they can't even stand to think about doing. Right? So you're doing those things and you appearing cringe. It's you actually being the coolest ever. So do those things. Whether or not they see you as cringe, it doesn't matter. It's your life after all. And the 15th one, you don't have to have it all figured out. This ties to one of the points that I've said earlier, that I wish I had known that it's not just about being a master of something before you start doing it. Right? Analyze where you stand right now. And with the resources that you actually have, take a step. Do something about whatever it is that you want to do something about. And it could happen that you might just flop at the end of the day, or just embarrass yourself in front of people, but it wouldn't hurt as much as you regretting later in your life to say that I would have done that. Nothing hurts actually more than that pain. So save yourself the hurt, but save yourself that pain, and just do with what you have right now. The next, you do not deserve anything, right? In today's world, it's a thing of anything that you want, you can instantly get it. For example, if you want food, you can just, with a few taps on your phone, get that thing delivered at your doorstep. And this has created a mindset in us that whatever it is that you want, you actually deserve it. But that's never the case, never will be the case. You don't deserve anything, you are nothing, you own nothing. And that's just that. Have that mindset everywhere you go. Have that mindset in every stand of your life. It doesn't matter what you have accomplished or stuff like that, but there is always someone who's going to be better than you are. Remember that. And the 17th one, it's your life. So take responsibility of it. Can't stress this enough, but it's just one of the core elements that I believe shapes a man into who he is. Responsibility. There's just that. You as a man have to provide, you have to make sure that everything is in order. And I'm not saying that to sound macho or stereotypical or stuff like that, but just that the core essence of life. And that's just going to be the case, whether you like it or not. And now the last one, you have a choice. Whether you decided to click away or listen to me until this moment, it was a choice you took. You took the choice to actually do whatever it is that you are doing. And you again took a choice to not do whatever it is that you're not doing. That thing that you claim you don't have a choice, you actually chose to not have a choice. So ultimately, you have a choice. And that's just that. So that was the list that I wish I knew in my early teens. the things that I wish or believe could have put me in a different position to where I am right now. Not to sound ungrateful, I'm actually grateful for where I am and enthusiastic about what's coming ahead. Do any of this sound common to you? Drop them there in the comments. If this video was informative and you found it helpful, share it with another adventurer and make sure that you guys level up together. Remember, it's Forever Young, a community of adventurers. Until then, stay vibrant.